In the second video, we're going to get a closer look at different forms of the equation of the line, the slope-intercept form and the general form of the equation of the line. So the slope-intercept form, in Swedish books also called the K-form, is the equation of the line that links together x-coordinate and y-coordinate of every point that lies on the line. And it's given as y is equal to k times x plus m. And we studied slope in the previous video, and this k, that's what the slope is. So this is the slope of the line, and this m indicates what y-intercept is. And from this, and when we have an equation of the line in this form, we can clearly see what its slope is and where the line crosses y-axis. So it's good to have the line in this form. And in the question, we have the other form, the general form of the line, where the slope is not that clear. So we need to convert this general form into slope-intercept form so that we can find both the slope and the y-intercept. And since in this form we have y isolated on one side, that's what we are going to do here as well. First, we will move everything but the coefficient or the term including y on the right hand side. So I will leave 4y here and I will move everything else on the other side. So minus 2x minus 5. And now I will divide by the coefficient of y, and I need to divide both terms. Now this is my slope. I can simplify it further to y is equal to minus 1/2 x minus 5 over 4, and from here my slope, this number is my slope, so the slope is negative 1/2, and the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is the point. It's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept is 0 and negative 5 over 4. Okay, if we did a diagram here, negative 5 over 4, that's minus 1 and 1/4. So if this is negative 1, this is where my negative 5 over 4 is, and the slope tells me that for every 2 steps to the right, okay, we did this in the previous video, I go 1 down. So this is what my line roughly looks like. Yeah, luckily we were not asked to draw the line, just to find the slope and the y-intercept. Yeah, and here, since we can see y-intercept is a point, that's why we wrote both coordinates. 0 on x-axis and negative 5 over 4 on y-axis. In the second part of the video, we're going to determine the equation of the line if we're given either the graph or 2 points that lie on this line. So let's start with question 1. We are given the graph. We have already done calculating the slope, so that should go quickly. I will find 2 points that lie on the line, and my change in y is, well, I go down if I go from left to right, so negative 3 over 2. So the slope of this line is -3/2, which means my line will have the equation y is equal to -3/2 x plus m. I don't know what the y-intercept is, but now, even though I don't have the graph here, I will use the logic. I will use the same procedure with the slope as when in the first video. In order to get to this point, I had to go 2 steps to the right and 3 up. So 1, 2. It doesn't really fit there. So what point is this? I had to go 3 steps up. So from 3, I am going to 6. So even without seeing that line, I can calculate that the y-intercept is equal to 6. So my line will have the equation of y is equal to -3/2 of x plus 6. As for the second question, this time I am given just 2 points. I can find the slope as my change in y over change in x. Again, we've done this in the first video. If this is my x1, y1, x2, y2, in order to find the slope, I need to subtract the y coordinates over subtract x coordinates. -2 minus 2 over x2 is -3 minus x1, -1. -2 minus 2 is -4 over -3. This will become -3 plus 1. So it's -4 over -3 plus 1 is -2. So I divide a negative by a negative, so it will become positive, +2. So this is my slope, which means that the equation of this line will be in the form y is equal to 2x plus m. I don't know what m is, but I know that both these points, -1 and 2 and -3 and 2, lie on this line. So I'll use the first point, for example. So -1 and 2 lies on this line, and I will use the coordinates. This is my y coordinate, this is my x coordinate, and I will plug them into my equation in order to find m. So 2 is equal to 2 times -1 plus m. 2 is equal to -2 plus m. Now I'll just add 2 to both sides. M is equal to 4. And from here, my equation is y is equal to 2x plus 4. You could use a similar procedure in the previous question as well, instead of using this idea of a slope and calculating the steps. You can use one of the points. You can see that, for example, this is the point 4, 0. So you can, if this is x and y, you can plug in the coordinates here and evaluate m this way, if you don't like, or if you prefer not using the idea of the slope as rise over run. So give it a try.